On the FLW's last visit to Lake Champlain, the results were totally awesome, and 1 ounce decided the win. The fish are biting again, and it figures to be another shootout. How do you spell drama? Around Lake Champlain, it starts with FLW Outdoors.
Yes, sir, that's what we're looking for, my friend. Ball game, baby. Yeah.
He could have one more in here. We have a champion.
Yeah. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Hallelujah!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FLW Outdoors. I'm Carlton Wing along with Taylor Carr, and today we're joining you from Plattsburgh, New York. It's the site of the Forest Wood Open. It's also the final regular season event for the 2004 season. There is a lot on the line. There's also some adverse weather, so today we're joining you inside. This is the site of our pre-tournament anglers meeting.
The Angler of the Year race will be decided here. Shinichi Fukai, right now, rookie from Japan, is your leader. He leads Greg Hackney by 33 points. But recall 2 years ago on this very lake, Kevin Van Dam had a big lead over Jay Yellis. Yellis came back and won Angler of the Year. It could happen. Hackney has to fish well, Shin has to struggle, but we could see a shakeup in Angler of the Year.
And we might get an idea of who will fish well and who may struggle and how they will do so. Hank Parker joins us right now. Hank?
Hey, thanks, Carlton. Today we've got a great show. We've got a real horse race for the Angler of the Year. We've got FLW Pro Shin Fukai, who was the Angler of the Year in Japan last year. He's come to America, first year on the FLW tournament circuit. He's leading Greg Hackney by 33 points. And I'm going to tell you, Greg Hackney wants to win that title just as bad as Shin. So it's going to be a real battle between those two guys right here on Lake Champlain. And then we got Vic Valero, who is a guy that's on the bubble. And you know, so many of the guys base their whole year on whether or not they qualify for the Tour Championship. Only 48 guys are going to do it. Vic is one of those guys, one spot out. He's our bubble boy. So we're going to be fishing with all these guys today. We're going to be taking a look at what they're going to do to catch fish on Lake Champlain. Back to you, Taylor and Carlton.
Thanks, Hank. You know, those 3 pros and all 200 competitors have a whole lot to fish for this week.
Now, and that's because the FLW Tour Championship is just around the corner. It's in August, $1.5 million on the line, $500,000 to the winner. And at this tournament, we will shore up our field of 48 finalists. Let's take a look at that truly unique championship format. The most exciting event in professional fishing is back and better than ever. The $1.5 million 2004 FLW Tour Championship will feature the best anglers of the year angling for the payday of a lifetime, $500,000. It's a life-changing event in a thrilling head-to-head format that's a first in this sport. It's angler against angler for the best prize in the sport. The top seed will face the 48th seed in the first round, and the second seed will meet number 47, and so on through the bracket. Winners in the first round will advance to the semifinals for more head-to-head action. Then on the final day, the final 12 anglers will all fish for the big money, $500,000. Now, if the championship were held today, top seed Shinichi Fukai would face 48th seed Kevin Vida. Other fun matchups would include Castrol Pro and defending 2003 champion David Dudley against Ozark Trail Pro Andy Morgan, or Kellogg's Pro Dave Lefebvre against Fuji Pro Randy Blockett. Take a look at the list of anglers just outside of the top 48. Dion Hibden at 51, Larry Nixon is at 52, Mike Worm is at 54, and Scott Martin is at 55. It all comes down to Lake Champlain, the Forest Wood Open, the final event of the season, the last chance to get into the biggest event in pro fishing, the 2004 FLW Tour Championship. As you can tell, it's a big event for the anglers and also a big event for the fans. Mark the dates on your calendar. The FLW Tour Championship, August 11th through the 14th in Birmingham, Alabama. You'll see history when one angler walks away with the title and a $500,000 payday.
Now, to get to that field of 48, some anglers must fish well in this event on Lake Champlain. Coming up, what makes Champlain unique? And one thing is largemouth and smallmouth will be a big factor in this event.
Well, one of the anglers who always fishes well at Champlain and just about everywhere else in the country is Aaron Martens. Coming up on FLW Outdoors, we'll take you across country to California to meet the Martens family.
Welcome back to FLW Outdoors. We're on the New York side of Lake Champlain, considered one of the best bass fisheries in the world. Now, what makes Champlain special? Well, there are two reasons.
There's good fish.
It's because anglers catch so many fish here, and because those big stringers contain quality largemouth bass and Champlain's specialty, the aggressive smallmouth. Here's the layout of the 6th largest freshwater lake in the U.S. Most of Champlain is between Vermont and the Green Mountains to the east and New York and the Adirondacks to the west. Champlain flows south to north into Canada and covers about 500 square miles of outstanding fishing ground. Plattsburgh, New York is home base for the tournament, and the 200 FLW pros have access to lots of water. They can run about 30 miles north to the Canadian border and then run 70 miles or more south.
There's a good one.
During the tour's first stop here in 2002, the results were record-setting. All 178 pros caught fish, and all but 8 had limits.
And everywhere I pulled up, I'd throw in there, and the next thing you go, fish on. All day long, I got whooped.
Well, I tell you, it's about my 4th tournament up here, and it never ceases to amaze me how we can just absolutely come up here and have a blast and catch fish after fish after fish. It's just unbelievable fishing.
And typical of Champlain, the pros caught lots of fish, lots of different ways. That trend continued in the finals, where we saw Mark Harden flipping a jig and catching largemouth, Jim Moyna working a jerkbait and getting good response from smallmouth, and several pros sight fishing.
And I'm about a foot away, 6 inches away. There she is.
Roll some tape. It's gonna happen.
Got him.
Yeah. Not as big as I thought.
Eventual winner Sam Newby caught his early fish on a jerkbait, and then with the limit secure, started flipping for bedding fish. And it was those largemouth caught off beds that put him over the top. Now note that Newby was very precise when it came to culling. As it turned out, a 1-ounce mistake would have cost him over $100,000. This year, the fishing looks to be just as good, maybe leading to another nail-biter finish. So it's almost a guarantee this event is going to be close. To find out how close, pro Lee Bailey from Amston, Connecticut. And you fish Champlain a lot. Lee, what's likely to be the big key in this tournament?
The big key in this tournament is going to be the wind. They're predicting some wind coming in. It's already here, and if it don't get out of here quick, we're going to have a tough time.
How bad can it get on Champlain when the wind really blows?
Oh, this lake can blow up 8, 9, 10 foot without a problem.
You have a couple of key patterns for us today.
Yeah, I do. These fish are in a pre-spawn, spawn, and post-spawn stage. We got fish doing everything. And what we're going to start out doing is looking for some of them post-spawn fish. One of the main patterns that are going to go on here this week is fishing isolated shade structures like moored sailboats and moored boats that are just a little bit off the bank. The bass like to get up underneath those for a couple reasons. One is the shade, but the other is as those boats spin around with the wind changing, it also clears out some grass and it kind of creates a hole in the grass. And then bass like to get in that, especially during the post-spawn. We had run across the lake and looking for some calm water and found this pencil grass in that calm water. I know that's something that a lot of the fishermen are going to do this week, especially if that wind blows. They may not be fishing exactly where they want to be fishing, but they're going to come into this calm water, and if they find the pencil grass, they're going to find a bunch of bass in it. As you can see with this fish, it almost swallowed the jig. These fish in the shallow water, even though it's only a couple feet deep, still suspend. And that real slow fall jig allows them to just inhale it. And that's what this fish did. It just inhaled it, got it in real deep. If I was throwing a heavier jig, I might not have caught that fish. When you come up to Lake Champlain, you'd be crazy not to have a spinnerbait with you. Them smallmouth and largemouth both like to suspend in that deeper grass. And especially if the wind blows like it's blowing today, them fish will get out there and really crush a spinnerbait. But bring a lot of spinnerbaits with you, because them northern pike up here are going to eat them up just as quick.
Lee, we've seen firsthand about this weather, because when we started we were in short sleeves and it was warm, and now it's cooled off and we had some rain. I mean, weather is going to be a factor in this tournament.
It sure is. It's going to change a lot of things. I mean, guys are going to even have to fish where they don't want to fish just because they can't get to their fish.
You gave us good insight. Lee Bailey, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pro Lee Bailey. More on the weather now on our Banana Boat outdoor conditions. Sunshine and very calm conditions on day one with highs in the 70s, then turning windy on day two, some typical Lake Champlain weather. Friday's temperatures range from 50s to 70s, and the same for Saturday, UV index 5 to 6. So fittingly, we'll see a wide variety of conditions here on Lake Champlain. To Hank Parker now, who's standing by with one of our pros who's got lots to fish for in this event.
Hey, thanks, Taylor. We're with Vic Vadalero, and we're right here, the bubble guy, 49th place. 48 guys go to the Tour Championship, and to fish for $500,000. You're one spot out. You're on a lake that has lots of different personalities and a lot of adversity to deal with. Tell me about it.
What I'm gonna do, I am gonna listen to the guy beside me and not be nervous, not worry about what place I'm in, go out and do the best I can. I'm gonna go try to find 5 3-pounders.
Fish the fish.
Fish the fish.
Beat the fish and you're in the championship. If you don't, you're going home.
I hope I'm going to the championship.
Me too. All right, let's go out on Lake Champlain, brutal Lake Champlain today. I mean, a lot of wind, and we're gonna see what Vic can do with these big smallmouth and largemouth.
Yep, we're gonna look for both today.
All right, let's go.
See what we can do.
I'm ready if you are.
Vadalero, you got it. Vadalero.
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 You got it. Talk with your hands.
Mario Andretti. Vadalero. You know, this is such an incredible lake. It's got so many patterns. There's the fish.
All right.
The wrong
It's a toothy
brand.
critter. What do they call those?
The wrong brand of fish. Got a fish.
Hey, it might be a smallmouth.
It is a smallmouth.
Can you believe it?
Caught me.
A trophy. Now, this guy would have to grow about
Hey, that's a smallmouth
6 years.
bass.
What do you think?
No, I think another year and he'll be a keeper.
He'll be a keeper. Not the keepers that we want.
I think this wind would push him up on the bar.
I didn't think it was supposed to be as breezy as it is today.
You call this breezy?
Breezy.
This is breezy.
This ain't brutal.
This is breezy. So what do you do? How do you deal with all the variables that's involved with Lake Champlain?
Well, I'll tell you, I've been coming up here for a while, and most of my tournaments have been in the fall, so most of my patterns are post-spawn patterns that I know out on these rocky edges and long drawn-out points where they drop into deep water. So I've kind of left the spawners to everybody else, it seems like. I know there's a lot of fish spawning, largemouth and smallmouth, but I'm trying to key on long drawn-out points with deep water real close by. Like, hopefully the fish that have already spawned and moved out on the end and are feeding. That's what I'm looking for.
What do you do about the weather? Do you find fish that you can fish on all different winds, whether it's out of the north, south, east, or west? Or do you set strategies like that, or how do you deal with that?
What I've been trying to do, because this wind can definitely kill you. I mean, it could be rolling 5-footers on your best spot. I've been trying to get a northern spot, a southern spot, an eastern, you know, that are protected from all the different winds. I've been trying to get areas that I can fish regardless of the wind. And I've even got areas that are tucked into bays or channels, you know, like that are definitely protected from any wind, you know, that I can go catch 2-pounders, you know. But the position that I'm in, being in 49th place, 2-pounders I don't think are gonna do it, you know. So I gotta try to, I don't think. I mean, I don't know whether to play safety, and I should almost ask you, do you play the 2-pounder game quick, or do you just go for 3s, or, you know, basically go for broke? Hey, you got yourself a rock bass.
Those are exciting, aren't they?
Those are exciting fish.
Are these good eating?
No.
Oh, they're not?
They just like to eat your baits.
They're terrible.
See that big old mouth on that thing?
Yeah, it was awful.
You kissed that fish?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that.
I ate a bite of it.
Oh my gosh.
All right, Vic, I'm wishing you the very best. I wish you
Thank you very
a
much.
big string of 3-pounders, move up to 45th place, have a little cushion in there.
That's right. I do not want to be 48.
Well, we're going to move from 49th all the way up to the top of the leaderboards. 2 guys are in the top running for Angler of the Year. We're going to be joining those guys right after this on FLW Outdoors.
Get him up here, get him up here fast, he says.
Here
Carlton.
comes Todd Otten. Todd is the last man who can take the title away from Sam Newby. He needs a 5-pound, 4-ounce fish.
And Sam says that one's not going to be big enough. This one here weighs in at 2 pounds, 11 ounces. We have a champion, Sam Newby.
Sam Newby, your 2002 Forest Wood Open champion. Sam, it's been an incredible year, and what a thrilling finish to the regular season.
I don't know what to say right now. I've been shooting at this all year, and it finally happened.
Here's an update from the EverStart Series. In the first event from the Northern Division, Jeff Ritter of Wisconsin beat out Kellogg's pro Dave Lefebvre with a total catch of 23 pounds and 1 ounce. Jeff wins $50,000 in cash and prizes. For more information on the entire family of FLW Outdoors events, log on to FLWOutdoors.com.
And welcome back to FLW Outdoors, everyone. It's raining outside in Plattsburgh, New York, so we're in the Civic Center previewing the $1.25 million Forest Wood Open on Lake Champlain.
Well, all season long, BF Goodrich pro Scott Martin has taught us the finer points of fishing in our Fishing 101 segments. This week's topic is one of the most exciting ways to catch fish on a topwater lure.
Hi, I'm Scott Martin. Today we're going to talk about a topwater lure. You know, a topwater is one of my most favorite ways to catch fish, especially on a cloudy day. In the springtime, the summertime, or even the fall, it's a great lure to fish when the bass are up shallow feeding on bait. There he is. He came up behind it 2 or 3 times. All right, he inhaled that popping bait. You know, popping bait's a great lure to use on a cloudy day like today where these fish are feeding on shad, very small little shad. It's slow enough to draw the attention of the fish, but the important thing about a popping bait is this little feather that they put on the back. This little feather dangles down in the water as you're popping this along, and it actually looks just like the little minnows are feeding on. So a lot of times these fish really aren't even paying much attention to the bait itself. The bait's making the splash, but this little feather's dangling in the water, and it allows those fish to key in on that little piece of feather there. They think it's a minnow, and they attack it. The retrieve of a popping bait like I'm throwing today is real important. A lot of times I'll start off by fishing it slow. I'll make a long cast, let the bait hit the water, and let all the rings dissipate from around the bait. It might take 4 or 5 seconds. And then I'll engage my reel and make a pop and let it sit there again. And I'll keep a steady 1 pop for a little while. And if I don't get any bites doing that, I'll change it up a little bit. I might mix it up and do a 1 pop, and then I'll do 2 pops. 1 pop, 2 pops. And just kind of play with it a little bit and see what the fish like, because a lot of times fish are real particular on the speed that bait's moving. And even sometimes, if they're real active, I'll go real fast the whole time, just kind of short little twitches, and then stop it. Pop it once. And a lot of times those fish will hit it right then after that. So just play with your retrieve a lot. A lot of times that's the biggest key to fishing on topwater is the speed of your bait. All right. Nice little popper fish. I tell you, these little topwater like this on a cloudy day, especially when the fish are feeding on small bait, little popping bait like that, on about 10, 12 pound test line, you'll catch a lot of fish. That's a lot of fun.
One of the great storylines of this 2004 season is the rise to power of Shinichi Fukai. Japan's best angler is about to be America's best angler.
Yeah, he won the title in Japan last year and could win it here this year. He could win back-to-back Angler of the Year titles. What a story. Shin Fukai is now with our Hank Parker.
Hey, thanks, guys. Hey, we have got a fascinating story coming up. We've got Shin Fukai from Japan. Last year, he was the 2003 Angler of the Year in Japan. He's come to America. He's mostly staying in a camper, going around to all the lakes that he's never been to before, and he's our current Land O' Lake Angler of the Year leader. We're gonna have Gary Yamamoto interpret for us, because I am horrible at English, let alone trying to speak Japanese. So Gary's gonna join us, he's gonna interpret. But first, before we go to them, I wanna say I am so impressed. We talk about the mental toughness of this sport. Shin has fished in tournaments in Japan where they have 300 anglers on a little small body of water. And I think the mental toughness that you have to develop to compete in that environment is playing a big role in why he's successful here. And I think it's just a prime example of how mental toughness and how mentality plays into the game of fishing. So now we're going to join Shin Fukai and Gary Yamamoto.
Thank you, Hank, for the introduction. Shin, when you come to a new lake, how do you prepare for it?
まずこうマップを広げて、で、湖の印象をつかむためにこうぐるっと一周回るような感じですね。
How does the tournaments in Japan compare to the FLW tournament?
まあやっぱりこっちの方が湖が大きいんで、すごい自由に釣りができて、やっぱり楽しいです。
What was your goal coming to the United States this year?
まあそんなにね結果は考えてなかったです。初めて出る試合ですし、トーナメントですし、まあいろんな勉強するためだったんで、そんなにこう結果は望んでなかったです。いやもうここまでねこんなにいい状態であと1回ねここの試合残してここまでこういう形でなれるとはもう全く思ってなかったです。
Do you think you're going to be the 2004 Land of Lakes Angler of the Year?
もう全然そんなことを考えつかないです。もうそうなったとしても多分本当とは思わないでしょうね。
If you were to win Land of Lakes Angler of the Year, what would it mean to you?
どうなるんですか教えてください。僕にはもう全然想像つかないです。
From Osaka, Japan, Shinichi Fukai.
Just a little speak English.
Number 1.
No big fish.
Shinichi Fukai, Japanese for
Very, very perfect.
well, not really, but with 3 top 10s in the first 5 events of the season, he's fished about as perfectly as anyone could expect. And consider this, Shin had never fished any of the FLW waterways before he competed on them this year. Fukai! He does not speak English, but he certainly understands how to fill out a check.
Lots of zeros. Shin saying lots of zeros.
He also understands how to fill a live well and a weigh-in scale. It's a storybook season worth rereading. Okeechobee is chapter 1 of the breakout year. A then unknown Fukai approached the stage for his first and announced his presence on the tour with a whopping sack of 22 pounds 11 ounces, 5th best of the day. Fukai would go on to finish 4th. Not a bad debut. Fukai! At the Atchafalaya Basin, Fukai surged on day 2 with the 12th best stringer of the day and finished just out of the top 10 in 11th place. Fukai entered his 3rd tournament 2nd in the season standings. That's when Fukai stumbled for the first and only time this season. Shin finished in 71st place. He still cashed a check, but it was his worst finish of the year. Now, anyone who thought Fukai's free fall from 4th to 11th to 71st meant he was a flash in the pan was dead wrong. Fukai! At the Walmart Open, Fukai was back in the top 10, thriving on the clear waters of Beaver Lake. He led after day 1, a full pound better than 2nd place. Shin held his own, finishing 6th and jumping back into 2nd place in the Land O'Lakes Angler of the Year race. Kentucky Lake, the latest chapter in Fukai's rise to power. A 30th place finish on day 1 did not dissuade the man determined to take the season points lead. Shin caught the 2nd largest stringer of day 2 to secure a slot in his 3rd top 10 of the season. He'd go on to finish 5th. Now, with 1 event to go, Fukai holds a commanding lead in the season points race, 33 points ahead of Yamaha pro Greg Hackney. Only 3 others are within 100 points of Fukai. It's Shin's race to win or lose.
I sure wouldn't bet against him, I can tell you that. Hey, coming up next, we're going to take a look back at Lake Champlain 2002.
Welcome back to Plattsburgh, New York. We're at Lake Champlain, one of the great fisheries in this country.
Now let's talk about the last time the FLW Tour visited Champlain. It was 2002. And you know, Champlain is one of those lakes where every angler comes off the water feeling great. In fact, at the end of day 1, Stephen Anderson, a young pro out of Kentucky, walked up to the stage with a 5-fish limit and felt great until he saw he was in 171st place. There's that many fish to be caught here.
And it's almost guaranteed to be close. We've seen how Sam Newby targeted big largemouth on the last day, and it made for one of the great finishes in FLW history.
What more could the FLW and its world-class anglers ask for? Beautiful day 1 weather on a beautiful lake and an unheard-of abundance of fish. And talk about fish. Wednesday's weigh-in revealed that of 178 pro anglers, all but 8 bagged the 5-fish limit. It was the biggest single-day weight in FLW history.
Isn't this a great place to fish? It's the best place that I've ever fished, for sure. It's incredible.
Michigan's Chad Grigsby brought in the day's top stringer, 19 pounds, 14 ounces, and he did it targeting largemouth, on the theory smallmouth alone couldn't win the tournament. The Land O'Lakes Angler of the Year race got interesting when points leader Kevin Van Dam finished the day in 30th place. Yamaha pro Jay Yellis would have a shot at the title, but he'd have to make the cut and hope Van Dam didn't. Van Dam only managed 44th place, leaving the door wide open for Yellis if Jay could make the cut.
Jay Ellis has got 5 in the bag, 17 pounds, 8 ounces, 33.15. He is in the top 20.
I've gone from having absolutely no pressure on me all week because it was up to Kevin, and he happened to stumble this week. So now I've gone from having no pressure to having all the pressure on me.
Jay needed at least a 16th place finish to overtake Van Dam and win Angler of the Year. Jay rose to the occasion, finishing 10th. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, your 2002 Land O'Lakes Angler of the Year, Jay Yellis. Put yourself in Todd Auten's shoes. One day you're entering your first ever FLW event. 3 days later, you're fishing in the finals against Rick Clunn, Dean Rojas, and David Dudley with a $210,000 paycheck on the line. Talented, exciting, intimidating. Words that described the final field for the 2002 Forest Wood Open. One thing the anglers knew heading into Saturday's competition, catching fish wasn't the problem. Catching quality fish would determine the champion.
If I had to keep that one, I ain't gonna win.
2 top guns on the 2002 Tour battled down to the final ounce for this year's title. Yamaha pro Dean Rojas and FLW newcomer Sam Newby. $210,000 to the winner and $105,000 for second place.
7 pounds, 8 ounces by 1 ounce, the new leader. And that spells disaster for Dean Rojas.
Sam Newby, your 2002 Forest Wood Open champion. Sam Newby won the Forest Wood Open, $210,000 by 1 ounce over Dean Rojas. Now, Dean had that long drive back to Arizona, but he said he kept himself awake by looking in the passenger seat. That's where he had placed his $105,000 second place check.
Coming up on FLW Outdoors, we go out to California with Ranger Pro Aaron Martens and meet Red Hot Yamaha Pro Greg Hackney. Consider that in 3 years on the FLW Tour, Aaron Martens has qualified for 5 top 10s, been to 3 FLW Tour championships, and scored a $200,000 win at last year's Forest Wood Open. Martens is clearly at home on the water and among the world's best anglers. But ask Aaron and his wife Leslie where home really is, and you've posed a tough question. Is it Castaic, California, Birmingham, Alabama, or the road?
It depends on where we are, I guess. I catch myself saying home when I'm talking about the hotel sometimes. I have to go home now. I mean, back to the hotel.
Yeah, that's a really hard question. I get asked that quite a bit, actually.
When we're in Birmingham, that's home. When we're here, it's home.
Here is California, and if you had to pin them down to one place they had to call home, Castaic would be it.
This is Aaron's pond. This is his passion when he gets home.
That and my fish tank. And
Yeah, and his fish tank. And he works on this all the time, always putting new vegetation in it.
Like many anglers who can't get enough of the outdoors, Aaron's hobby has a direct connection to his chosen profession.
I just love anything to do with water. So I mean, it's just really a neat thing. It's always been my dream to have a pond and an aquarium, a big aquarium. You know, I've always wanted that since I was probably since I can remember when I was a little kid. And I finally did it. And it took me 30 years, but I got it.
The pond is nice, but Aaron prefers the real thing, his home lake and a big bass mecca, Lake Castaic.
It's just got a lot of rock. Actually, when I first started fishing, it's like it had a lot of dirt in it, and the dirt's kind of, from the years, it's a young lake. It's from '72, I think they built it.
Castaic is where he started fishing. It's where he learned to tie the drop shot he's famous for, and it's where he's caught unbelievable numbers of huge fish.
I hit it at its best growing up. I caught over 100 10-pounders out of here, and I used to catch them all the time. And man, I was just, 20 years old, coming up here every day after work doing big baits. It was just an awesome lake. You'd look, as far as you could see, you'd see fish busting. It still gets good, but not like that.
Look at the biggest bass of all time, and 4 Castaic bass make the top 7, including number 2 on the list, Bob Cruppy's monster from 1991 that weighed just over 22 pounds.
You'd have a night tournament here, and it'd be like, you'd have an 11-pounder, and they wouldn't look at it. It's just, put in the bag. It's just like, they caught like 30 or 40 like that. I mean, literally, you catch like, everybody'd have a 10-pounder. And it'd take like 40, 50 pounds of wind sometimes for a night tournament.
Aaron put his big bass training on Castaic to good use. Encouraged to compete by his mother, Carol, he began to win. They often fish team events together, each tournament helping convince Aaron that his knack for fishing could someday become a career. In only his second year on the FLW Tour, the Lake Wheeler event came down to Martens and Hall of Famer Larry Nixon. Nixon won, but Martens learned. In 2003, Martens set his sights on Lake Wheeler again, this time in the Forest Wood Open with a $200,000 first prize. In practice, Aaron found fish.
I got on a fish right away for once, and had to wait a whole week before the tournament started, which is kind of nerve-wracking, watching guys fish the spot. And, everything went perfect. Everything went this is planned. As best thing I could hope for, it went like I hoped it would.
It came down to Martens and local favorite Tim Horton.
The excitement was just incredible, and the way the FLW does the lands, it's like, I could hear my heartbeat. And I was sitting in that seat back to that boat, and being so close to Timmy. The guy's it's either gonna be me or him. And
Timmy kept on looking at me because I was sitting right in front of Timmy. He kept on saying. He kept on like, and I'm like, don't do that to me.
2 months later, Jordan arrived, the first for Aaron and Leslie. And then just before the 2004 season, they settled into a new RV. Now ask the Martens where home is, and they'll say anywhere the fish are biting.
I'm here with Greg Hackney on the last stop of the FLW Championship run. You just came back from another tournament, so you've only had like a half a day of practice?
So far.
This is going to be tough. What you going to do?
Well, I'm just going to keep my head down and do like normal.
Keep your head down and do like normal. If he does like normal, he's going to do well because you're about the hottest guy going on both circuits. So you got it all figured out and you're going to show us what to do.
Well, I'm on, right now still experimenting. I hadn't decided whether I'm going to fish a smallmouth or largemouth.
Okay.
I will tell you I'm kind of leaning right now towards the largemouth just because it suits my style, and with not much practice, I'm a little more comfortable with doing that.
Makes sense.
But the thing about it is when you come to this part of the country, you got to catch some smallmouth, because it's so enjoyable.
Oh, you're going to do it for fun, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to do it for fun because I
With
still like to
all this pressure, you telling me you're going to just be able to relax and have a little fun, catch a few smallmouth and enjoy it?
Yeah, you have to. You'd hate to waste a trip all the way to New York and not catch a smallmouth.
We're going to rename you to Mr. Cool. Ice water running through those veins. What the heck? Go for it. I like it. Let the games begin.
Well, this is the way I like to look at it. This is no different from me just going out there and going fishing. So that's the way I try to keep it, and that way I can stay that way. If you get caught up in it, I'm thinking, man, I can go out just about any day, no tournament on the line, catch what I want to catch, you know, and really have a good time doing it.
Look at that, look at the bait, see it? All yellow perch.
Is that tape you got in there, is that like a yellow perch?
It's a yellow perch bait. Is there any certain point you can put your finger on as to why you fish so well this year?
I would think the biggest reason is I fished so much this year. I've never fished this much before. You know, I average, you know, probably since the beginning of the year, 6 days a week, you know, fishing, so.
Does it give you confidence, even though you were on a completely different body of water your last tournament, to come into another tournament? Do you get better as the tournaments build?
Right, I don't really think that has that much to do with it. It's just kind of, you know, you're feeling the fish from place to place, you know, and they're pretty well the same regardless. I mean, there's similarities anywhere we go. So, you know, I guess that's probably the biggest thing that's helped me, and, you know, I've really been enjoying it. You know, we've had some bad weather, but I've caught some fish in bad conditions, and it has helped my confidence, you know, so I feel like, well, and this time I'm more so fishing the fish than fishing what I found in practice. You know, a little change, I make a little change. You know, I gamble a little more this year than I normally would. You know, I'll run to an area that I haven't even fished in practice. If I looked at it in practice, like, well, you know, it's got potential if everything lined up. You know, and then I go to those areas and they're there, you know, so just, you know, I think it's kind of a combination of things that's really helped me. And I've been really fortunate too, you know. I've had some really good, you know, some good breaks. It's just really helped me, so.
But that's pretty big to be able to pick up and go to an area that you really hadn't practiced. You just looked at it and felt like it had potential, and leave areas that you've been catching fish. Is that not, is something you've never done before?
Well, not to this extent like I have this year, but I started noticing that's how most of the tournaments are won. They're not won on places that you've beat up. They're won on new places, new waters, you know, fishing the pattern, you know, finding that place that hadn't been beat up, you know, as the moving with the weather. I want to know what it feels like to win a majors. You know, I've been right there close, and everybody who wins one really seems to enjoy it, and I want to try some of it and see how it is, see what it feels like.
I'll tell you, Greg, you're a prince of a guy and a heck of a fisherman, and I have enjoyed another day with you.
I have enjoyed it too. Thank you.
You got a long way to go, but I know you can get there.
I hope so.
Yamaha Pro Greg Hackney, heck of a fisherman, man. I tell you, now we're going to go join Taylor and Carlton for our Lake Champlain predictions. We're going to pick the winner of this tournament. Coming up next on FLW Outdoors.
Welcome back to FLW Outdoors. We are wrapping up our preview of the Lake Champlain event on the FLW Tour. Hank Parker joins us once again. And Hank, you had an opportunity to fish with some of the contenders. We found that catching fish was not a problem, but quality fish was the key.
You know, that's a real challenge to these guys, because it's really easy to get content catching 2-pounders. Probably the only lake in America you can catch a limit of 2-pounders and not even break the top 100. So they got to catch quality fish, got to find some 3- and 4-pound fish.
One of the pros you talked to is Vic Badalero. What does he have going, Hank?
Vic is, he's the bubble guy, you know. He's really got to catch fish, and he's found fish out a little bit deeper, but this weather is the big factor in that. We've had some real hard winds, and it's been pretty rough out there, so he's really kind of dependent upon the weather.
Yamaha Pro Greg Hackney has something to fish for, too.
Yeah, Hackney, he fished a tournament just a couple of days ago, so he got in here. He's only going to have like a day and a half of practice, so he's really got his work cut out for him.
And your newfound friend, Shinichi Fukai.
Shin is, he's so hot. I mean, what can you say about the guy? He's only finished out of the top 20 like once all year. He's real consistent. He's got a 33-point lead. I think he'll catch fish. I think he'll end up being our Land O'Lakes Angler of the Year.
You've been on the lake. How's it going to be won?
Well, it's really iffy. Sight fishing is going to be a factor, but if it's cloudy like it is today, then I don't think sight fishing is going to be the ticket. They're catching some big smallmouth, and they're catching some big largemouth. It's really so many variables, it's hard to pick, but I really think it'll end up being largemouth.
All right, here's our chance to make our picks. It's our last chance for glory here in the 2004 regular season. Hank, pick us a winner.
Well, I fished with Kelly Jordan at Kentucky Lake, and that guy's got the best eyes of anybody I've ever seen. He could see fish that I couldn't even see. I think sight fishing is going to be a factor here. We got really clear water. We got spawning bass. I think Kelly could be the man if we get the sunshine.
All right. Well, the last two tournaments, I've picked Dean Rojas, and it's had an adverse effect on his standing, so I'm going to give him a little bit of a break, and I'm going to steal Hank's guy. Larry Nixon enters this tournament as 52nd place in the season standings. He needs a good showing here at Lake Champlain to crack that top 48 and make it to the championship. When Larry needs something, Larry usually gets it, and so Larry's my man.
So you're abandoning Dean Rojas.
Not abandoning him. I'm just giving him a little bit
I've got you, Dean. I'm picking Dean Rojas because he finished second here last time. He's a good clear water fisherman, and he's fishing well. Dean Rojas will win this tournament.
All right, let's talk about the FLW Championship. It's coming up in August. $1.5 million on the line, $500,000 to the winner. It is certainly a lot to fish for.
And it's an event the whole family is going to enjoy. Over $100,000 in giveaways just for the kids. And it's capped off with a drawing after the final weigh-in where one fan wins a NASCAR Limited Series Ranger 521 VX bass boat powered by Evinrude. Admission is free at the Birmingham Jefferson Convention Center in Birmingham, Alabama, August 11th through 14th. For more information, go to our website, flwoutdoors.com.
Hank, with all that money on the line, somebody's life's going to change.
Boy, what a championship. That's a great event and a lot of money to fish for.
All right, well, we will find out who is in and who is out in the FLW Championship at this event right here at Lake Champlain. It's the $1.25 million Forest Wood Open. We crown a winner next week on FLW Outdoors.
All right, Vic Varalero, the bubble boy. You got it. I butchered that already, Vic.
Battlero.
Battlero. Here we go. Are these good eating?
No.
Oh, they're not? This is how you tournament guys do it. Take your time.
Right. I mean, you know, if y'all go out fishing, that's the kind I want to catch. You don't want to catch a bunch of knots, you know. I want to catch some heat.
Right now, I'd take a knot.
Right.
The FLW Tour's regular season comes down to one event, the Big Money Forest Wood Open. We've got world-class anglers, Lake Champlain's world-class fish, and Forest Wood himself. It's next on FLW Outdoors.
Yes, sir. That's what we're looking for, my friend.
Yeah.
He could have one more, and he does.
We have a champion.
Look, who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Hallelujah!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FLW Outdoors. I'm Carlton Wing, along with Charlie Evans, and today we are joining you from Plattsburgh, New York. It's the 6th stop on the FLW Tour, and Charlie, this is the Forest Wood Open. Very prestigious, and there's a lot on the line at this tournament.
We've got a lot of nervous people here, Carlton. Our final event of the year will determine several things, as you say. Our top 48 anglers will be determined that qualify the championship in Birmingham, Alabama, along with the top 100 that are allowed to come back next year, guaranteed spot in next year's competition, plus the competition for the Angler of the Year wraps up.
That's right. We've got a new Land O'Lakes Angler of the Year. He's from Japan, and we set some history.
Absolutely, we have. For the very first time, a rookie has won along the Walmart FLW Tour. Shin Fukai from Osaka, Japan. He wiped out the field this year.
3 top 10s in the course of this season. His first time ever to see any of these waterways in the United States. An amazing story there. Let's talk about now our Forest Wood Open. Our 10 finalists have taken the water. They left this morning at launch. It was a beautiful Lake Champlain day, but there was some tension there because we've got our top 8 pros are all within 2 pounds of each other.
I tell you what, this competition is going to be just amazing here on Lake Champlain. You said lots of competition, lots to fish to compete with. I mean, we have fish everywhere. Everybody's going to catch a limit today, no doubt about that. It's going to come down to ounces to determine who's going to win this event.
I think I'll be okay at limit first couple hours, and then I can go relax and go catch some fish, big ones, hopefully.
just being here is great. I mean, as far as just being able to fish up here, even if I wasn't in a tournament. So it's just, I'm just looking forward to going out there and hopefully catching some smallmouth, just having a good time.
It's a horse race, isn't it? There's no one running away with it. You get the right bite today, and it could be career-changing.
Charlie, our anglers have a lot to fish for in this tournament. $1.25 million on the line in our total purse.
That's a huge purse, $200,000 first place prize, and paying down 75 places. 50th place on the pro side, $10,000.
All of our anglers knew about that payday as they came into Lake Champlain, and every one of our 200 pros had their sights set on that first place prize. Getting to this point, however, was tough. Let's take a look at the rough waters of day 1 and 2 here on Lake Champlain.
I love New York.
Launch on Lake Champlain started just minutes ago, and the weather is picture perfect. Clear and very little wind, and that should open the door for some big stringers on day 1. These pros know of Champlain's potential. On the FLW's last trip here, they shattered the record for total catch.
There's going to be some bags of fish caught today that are unbelievable.
They're going to bring in some big stringers. There's a lot of good fish here, smallmouth and largemouth.
When Sam Newby won the 2002 event, he did it mainly on sight fish. Different approach this time for the Kellogg's Pro, sitting in 10 feet of water and casting a Lucky Craft pointer to 6 feet. Champlain is such a strong fishery that almost anything works, from Michael Black flipping a tube, to Dan Mansky Carolina rigging, to Jimmy Millsaps with a fluke. And somewhere in the middle of those shallow reeds is Fujifilm Pro Wes Thomas.
There we go.
Nowhere near the quality fish he wants, but it's a start for Thomas.
Hey, that's a keeper.
Thomas called that fish in a hurry, and so did everybody else. The total day 1 catch broke the Champlain record from 2 years ago, with 189 pros toting limits.
This is a fun place to fish.
I have never been any place like this, Charlie. It's unreal.
Remember Jimmy Millsaps? That fluke he was throwing helped him get 18-12 and 3rd place.
I'm working it a little different than most people. I'm working it sort of fast, then I'm sort of just killing it.
Garmin pro Rob Kilby caught a limit of all smallmouth in deeper water on a tungsten Terminator spinnerbait.
It travels through the column of water that I'm trying to fish at a rapid pace, and that's what they have to have.
Leading the way, David Walker with just over 20 pounds, all largemouth, flipping a tube to holes in shallow grass. In the Land O'Lakes Angler of the Year race, Shinichi Fukai's lead appears secure. He stands in 17th place. His nearest challengers, Yamaha Pro Greg Hackney and Castrol Pro Mike Sermon, are tied for 71st. Snickers Big Bass for day 1, a 6'5" largemouth from Yamaha Pro Alton Jones.
Forest Wood Open, day 2.
It's day 2 at Lake Champlain, which means for 190 of our pros, this is the final day of the 2004 regular season. However, there are 85 pros within 4 pounds of the top 10 cut. It's still anybody's ball game at the Forest Wood Open.
I'm right where I want to be. I mean, I'm right on the edge there where I need to be, and the potential's there to catch a nice sack today.
Kind of nervous, ready to go get them though. There's still a lot of fish out there, just waiting to see what the wind does.
This is your kind of conditions, aren't they?
Yeah, I love it like this.
I hope I can get them caught before the wind starts blowing. I think we're supposed to have some 25, 30-mile-an-hour winds today, and that's going to be pretty rough where I'm fishing at.
The best anglers in the world knew they'd have to beat Mother Nature and the fish today. Kellogg's Pro Alvin Shaw landed a limit in just over an hour after launch. Catching fish wasn't the problem. Catching quality was the key. Shaw improved to 55th place and earned a $10,000 payday. Fellow Kellogg's Pro Clark Wendland would earn a 30th place finish thanks to this keeper. For all of Lake Champlain's beauty and the amazing abundance of fish, wind is a common nemesis. It affects the fish, but mainly it affects the fishermen. As the afternoon advanced, so did the wind. Meanwhile, the weigh-in was a show and tell of the day's events. While many anglers were focused on winning the Forest Wood Open, others needed a strong showing here to qualify for August's FLW Championship.
I had 9.6 yesterday and 17.10 today, so I'm cutting it pretty close on the championship. I think I came back today and caught enough weight to put me in the championship.
Also on day 2, Shinichi Fukai secured 24th place and clinched the 2004 Land O'Lakes Angler of the Year, capping an amazing season. As for the Forest Wood Open, Rob Kilby continued to dominate, moving from second to first place with 16 pounds 10 ounces. David Walker is just behind Kilby after returning to his top spot 65 miles away.
I thought it was a gamble I needed to take. Went down there this morning, caught one first cast. 10 minutes later, I had maybe 12, 13 pounds of fish in a boat.
A talented field enters the final round, including 2003 Angler of the Year Dan Moorhead, last year's Forest Wood Open champ Aaron Martens, Fuji Pro Randy Blockett, and BF Goodrich Pro Scott Martin. As you just saw, those who survived the qualifying round truly earned their spot in the final round. Taylor Carr is with one of our pros right now.
Well, the weather is so good that our leader has changed his tactics. This is Fuji Pro Randy Blockett, and he had planned to fish a jerkbait in this area, but the water is so flat and calm, he's sight fishing now. And here's what Randy's looking at. This is in 8 to 10 feet of water, a smallmouth bass locked on the bed, and in the last 30 minutes, Randy's caught 4 of those. If the water stays calm and clear, he may sight fish the rest of the day. If the wind picks up, he'll go back to throwing a jerkbait. He's our leader right now, and a bit later we'll find out how Randy Blockett's doing, but it's pretty exciting out here.
Well, thank you, Taylor. We've got a lot to look forward to on this edition of FLW Outdoors. Our own Larry Nixon is on the water with another one of our top finalists.
He's with David Walker on the south end of the lake, catching the largemouth down there. Matter of fact, David had the largest stringer of the week, 20 pounds, 3 ounces on day 1.
That's coming up. We'll also talk to the rest of our field on the water while they fish, find out how they're doing. And then a little bit later on, our finalists will take the stage behind us. We're getting it ready to crown a champion at the Forest Wood Open.
Not the size I wanted, but it's a start, I guess.
Hi, I'm Plattsburgh, New York Mayor Dan Stewart. Welcome to New York. I think you're going to love it. I love New York.
I love New York.
I love New York. I love New York.
Welcome back to FLW Outdoors and coverage of the 2004 Forest Wood Open. And Charlie, as we take a look at our field of finalists, this is one of the most talented top 10 we've had all year.
Unbelievable, Carlton. Champions stacked one on top of the other. One newcomer, first time in the top 10.
All right, well, let's meet our talented field of finalists. Just 2 pounds separates our top 8. It's going to be a shootout. Here we go. Finalist number 1 from Satsuma, Alabama, Jason Kilpatrick. He's just 4 pounds and 13 ounces off the lead. 3 pounds off the lead from Hot Springs, Arkansas, Rob Kilby. In 8th place from Grove City, Ohio, Charlie Hartley. BF Goodrich Pro Scott Martin back in the top 10 for the 7th time. He finished 4th the last time the FLW Tour visited Lake Champlain. In 6th place from Gastonia, North Carolina, Snickers Pro Chris Baumgartner. In 5th place from Rogersville, Alabama, Jonathan Newton. Castaic, California's Aaron Martens is the defending Forest Wood Open champion. He won the last Forest Wood Open at Lake Wheeler last year. David Walker is just 2 ounces off the lead in the hunt for yet another FLW Tour victory. In 2nd place, just 1 ounce off the lead from Paducah, Kentucky, Dan Moorhead. And our leader heading into today's competition is the Fuji Pro from Lamar, Missouri, Randy Blockett, holding a very narrow lead with a total weight right now of 16 pounds and 2 ounces. Aaron Martens won the Forest Wood Open last year. He's gunning for another title this year. He's with Taylor Carr right now.
Yeah, and it's a perfect day for what Aaron Martens is trying to do. He's only 14 ounces off the lead, and he's got some sight bass spotted, smallmouth bass. You're looking at some right now. Aaron, what are you seeing down there?
I see about, you can't tell when they're about 10, 12 foot deep. This is probably about 2.5, 3 pounder. He ate my flick about 2 flips ago, but he hasn't looked at it since. They do that a lot. I'm just trying trying to find fish that are still here. A lot of fish got picked off.
Aaron has a remarkable ability to see fish that other people can't see on the bottom. Aaron, how do you explain your ability to do that?
I don't know. I can see them really good, actually. I know what to look for exactly. I'm sort of colorblind, so I kind of look for shadows, and really shadows are what I look for. And I can see that, like, you can't see a fish, but I'll see the shadow on the bottom. That's really what I'm looking for.
Hey, you won this big money tournament last year. Does that experience help you today?
No, I want to win this one just as bad as the last one. It's nerve-wracking, especially when you're looking at fish, you know, that could win it for you. And like this one's taking a lot longer than I thought. And it's that's a 2 3/4. Oops, sorry, fishy. I don't mistreat my bass, but there's a lot of money on the line. He thumped it pretty good. There's a lot of big fish in this lake to be caught right now. On a day like today, there's gonna be some weight caught today. I got a slow start. I won't be happy until I hit about 19 pounds, I think. I just hope I get that.
These pros love fishing for smallmouth because they're so aggressive. Aaron, you've had a great start today. We're shortly into the day and you got 4 fish in the boat. We'll let you fish. Good luck. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Taylor. Back to work.
And he's got 9 or 10 more spots he may check today. Good start for Aaron Martens, 14 ounces out of the lead and already 4 fish in the boat.
Well, normally at this point in the program, we usually go to an interview with Scott Martin, talking to one of our finalists on Friday. However, Scott went off and made the top 10 himself.
He's out there today, and he's out there doing a great job. Scott, how's it going?
Well, you know, it's going real well. I had a pretty rock-solid plan on what I wanted to do today, pretty much this whole tournament. My plan was to make the cut off bedding fish that I had found down on the south end of the lake. And then my other part of the plan was to hopefully win the tournament on the north end of the lake. And today I wanted to go out and catch a decent bag of fish, sight fishing early. And I had that by 8:30 this morning. I've got about a 13 or 14 pound bag. And now I'm going to spend the rest of the day really fishing slow and methodical out here on the side of this island and catch 3 or 4 big 4-pound smallmouth. And I think with a couple of those or 3 or 4 big 4-pounders, I think I'm going to win the tournament.
Scott, there is a very tight group of anglers. The top 8 are separated by less than 2 pounds. What kinds of things can you do to make sure you get just that extra edge to win this tournament today?
Well, having new fish is the key to this tournament. You know, catching a lot of fish on this lake's usually not too much of a problem, but having an area that has fish over 4 pounds or close to 4 pounds is a hard thing to do. And I think a lot of these guys maybe didn't put enough time in to find some places for day 4, and that's what this island is going to do for me today. I haven't hit it at all, but just a little bit, and so I plan on fishing a lot of fresh fish today that are here. I know they're here, they're not going anywhere, so it's a matter of me just getting in here and fishing real methodical and taking my time and catching these fish because they haven't seen a lure yet.
All right, thanks a lot for talking with us, Scott. We will see you at the weigh-in. Best of luck to you.
Thank you very much. We'll see you then.
All right, that's Scott Martin, 1 pound, 6 ounces off the lead. He's in 7th place. That's the bad news, but he's very close to the lead. He's fishing pretty well.
And got a lot of confidence. He thinks he's going to win this event. He's around some really big fish.
All right, let's talk about another guy who's got a lot of confidence as well. Sevierville, Tennessee's David Walker. He's just 2 ounces off of the lead, looking for another FLW title. Larry Nixon is with David right now.
Right now I'm out here with David Walker, and he's catching largemouth in the grass, pitching a jig. And David, can you tell me why you chose to run this far and fish this particular area?
Because the fishing is so good. I mean, it's that simple. I come down here one day of practice just to get it out of my system so I know I don't have to make a run like that. And they was biting so good that I thought, uh-oh, I got to come back here.
I'm impressed. That boat ride he made Thursday getting back took 3 hours. That's how rough that lake got. And was there ever a time that you thought you wasn't going to make it?
Well, when we first left, I didn't know if we could or not, because when we first left out of here, went over and got fuel, you know, you hit that open part of the lake after it makes the turn, and the waves were enormous. And I mean, it was just ragged. It was just rough, and you really had to pick and take your time and stop and put fresh water on the fish, keep from killing them. But I gave myself 4 hours to make it in, and I don't think it was a fish, but I gave myself 4 hours So that way I knew at no time did I have to really push myself, so I wasn't worried about it. There he is. Oh, it's a fish. There's another one with him. There's another one right here. We're gonna whack him right there. Another one the same size. He was right there with him.
Well, you saw that. When he finds them, you know, he catches them. He had 2 bites and 2 pitches right there, and another one followed it in. So it's a pretty neat pattern. In fact, for a flipper like David Walker, it's probably the most awesome pattern that you can get, and that's flipping his favorite lure, a jig with a Zoom super chunk trailer on the back into heavy weeds, and he's using big line. You don't have to worry about them breaking your line, and just flip it in there, and when they get it, set the hook and throw them in the floor.
Thank you, Larry. All right, David Walker is making that real long run, and he needs to catch some bigger fish.
He's running over 60 miles one way to catch largemouth. He's catching a lot of fish, hadn't got the quality ones yet.
All right, when we come back on FLW Outdoors, Taylor Carr is on the water with our leader, Fuji Pro Randy Blockett.
Oh, man. Whew. Look at that perch you spit up. All right. I thought she spit the bait out there. There we go. That's, you can win with that right there. That's a 3.5 pounder. Woo.
Welcome back to FLW Outdoors and coverage of the 2004 Forest Wood Open. $1.25 million on the line. $200,000, Charlie, goes to our winner today.
And that can make the entire year for one fortunate angler, $200,000 in the bank account.
A life-changing event. Well, our leader heading into today was Fuji Pro Randy Blockett, holding a very narrow lead by 1 ounce. He's with Taylor Carr right now. And Taylor, earlier, Randy had 4 fish in the boat. How's he doing right now?
Well, he's just caught his limit fish, and Blockett's really got it working now. 5 fish in about 40 minutes, and Randy has a limit. Randy, that's number 5. You hadn't planned to sight fish today, though, had you?
No, Taylor, at all. In fact, I didn't. All I brought was my jerkbait box today, because that's what I had been catching a lot of them on. And I brought 3 of these little Lucky Strike tubes. That's all I got. I mean, if I lose these, I'm gonna have to go back to my jerkbait. But I fished the jerkbait for like 3 hours, and it's just completely slick out there. You can see the bait coming all the way back to the boat. And I just had to make an adjustment. I haven't even looked at any fish since I've been here, but I just was trying to fish the conditions.
Randy, it's all about making adjustments, isn't it?
That's it. I mean, that's the whole thing about it. It's, you have to fish the conditions. And, the weather forecast has not been right all week long. I was just real fortunate that I even brought any of these tubes with me today, because I sort of made a commitment to that jerkbait.
Now, how are you going to make those 2 tubes last the rest of the day if it stays flat like this?
I hope I have to worry about it. I hope I get enough bites to worry about it, but I caught 5 fish on that 1 tube. I'll just have to adjust when that situation approaches itself. But
all right, good luck, Randy.
Thank you.
Randy Blockett, Fuji Pro, who has 5 fish in the boat, all sight fishing. He didn't plan to do it today, but he's doing it quite well right now.
Well, Taylor, will Randy stay in that same area all day long?
Well, he'll stay in this area. It's about a 2 square mile area here, and he can sight fish if the water stays flat. He can also do his jerkbait if he wants to around here. I think Randy's committed to this area here to either win or lose the tournament.
Thank you, Taylor. All right, let's talk about Evinrude Pro Dan Moorhead. Last year wins the Angler of the Year, also wins the Walmart Open. This year he's already qualified for the championship, and he's gunning for the Forest Wood Open title as well. Dan joins us right now. Dan, you're just 1 ounce off of the lead. How's it going so far today?
Well, I can't complain. We've got a limit. It's a little tougher than it has been. I really don't know what the problem is just yet. If it's the weather, I mean, we've got such a perfect day. It's just dead slick calm, and that's kind of tough on smallmouth when you're fishing in this clear of water. But I don't know if it's that or if I've picked my spots over pretty hard the last 3 days. But we're trying some new water and some new stuff, and trying to put the puzzle together, and we're going to make it happen.
You're going to change locations at all, change depths at all, try to catch some bigger fish to move you up into the winning spot here, Dan?
Well, I think it's a matter of location. These fish I think, feed a lot by sight, and it's amazing how many times you'll pull up to a spot and mark out the exact thing you want to fish, and you'll catch that better fish on the first cast. I don't know if they hear that bait hit the water or if they're looking up all the time, but so I think what we're going to do is try to just see how many waypoints I can hit and just hit the key spots on them and run and gun, and all we need, I need about 3 more good bites, and I think I'll be in good shape.
All right, Dan Moorhead is just 1 ounce off of the lead, currently in second place. And in this log jam of very talented leaders, we expect a great weigh-in a little bit later on. Thanks a lot, Dan. Best of luck to you.
All right, guys. Thank you.
All right, that's Dan Moorhead. He will join this stage behind us momentarily. When we come back on FLW Outdoors, our 10 finalists take the stage. Somebody wins the first place prize of $200,000 and the very prestigious Forest Wood Open title.
We had a pretty good day today, but the bite was slow, and I didn't get near the bites that I wanted to, but we'll just take what we got and go in and see what happens.
I'm real happy with everything. I think I caught close to what I wanted to catch today. Pretty much everything went as game planned. I mean, the whole week went just like I wanted it to. I wanted to catch a limit early this morning and then go jerk bait, and I caught a couple doing that, and I wanted to finish the day off with some big ones, so I'm happy with it.
I feel like I worked hard enough at it, and I did the right things, and I caught a lot of fish, and I made it through all the wind and waves and 500 or 600 miles of boat driving I've done in the last couple of days. I'm really pleased with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are your 10 finalists for the Forest Wood Open. From Satsuma, Alabama, Jason Kilpatrick. From Hot Springs, Arkansas, Rob Kilby. From Grove City, Ohio, Charlie Hartley. From Lewiston, Florida, BF Goodrich Pro Scott Martin. From Gastonia, North Carolina, Snickers Pro Chris Baumgardner. From Rogersville, Alabama, Jonathan Newton. Our next finalist is the defending Forest Wood Open champion, who is in prime contention for a second straight title. Currently in fourth place, just 14 ounces off the lead. From Castaic, California, Aaron Martens. Our next finalist is a former Angler of the Year. He's in his 29th top 10 in the FLW Outdoors system, 12 on the FLW Tour. He's currently in third place, just 2 ounces off the lead. From Sevierville, Tennessee, David Walker. Our next finalist is the reigning Land O'Lakes Angler of the Year. Currently in second place, just 1 ounce off the lead. From Paducah, Kentucky, Dan Moorhead. Our final finalist has competed in every FLW tournament since 1997. He's surged to the top of the field with a strong day 3 weight. Currently your leader with a total weight of 16 pounds, 2 ounces from Lamar, Missouri, Fuji Pro Randy Blockett. Ladies and gentlemen, here they are, your 10 finalists for the Forest Wood Open. When we come back on FLW Outdoors, we will work through our field of finalists. The shootout style weigh-in starts next on FLW Outdoors. And welcome back to the $1.25 million Forest Wood Open. We're in Plattsburgh, New York, and our weigh-in has begun. Man, talk about an exciting weigh-in. Our leader is Randy Blockett of Lamar, Missouri, Fujifilm Pro. Randy has weighed 4 fish for a 4-day total of 27.15. Now, 4 anglers have weighed out, starting with Dan Moorhead, last year's Angler of the Year, Paducah, Kentucky. Dan weighed 5 fish for 10.7, but not enough today for Dan Moorhead. Next to go, Jason Kilpatrick, Skippy Pro from Satsuma, Alabama. He went for big fish today, but only managed 4, and Jason is gone. Next to go, Garmin Pro Rob Kilby out of Hot Springs, Arkansas. It wasn't to be for our day 2 leader.
And finally, Charlie Hartley from Grove City, Ohio, 5 fish, but not enough for Mr. Hartley. Now our 7-up leaderboard has Randy Blockett on top. His 2-day total is 27 pounds, 15 ounces. After Randy, it's Rob Kilby, Dan Moorhead, and Hartley. They've all weighed out. David Walker still alive with 25.15. Second page of the leaderboard has Aaron Martens, followed by Jonathan Newton, Chris Baumgardner, Scott Martin, and Jason Kilpatrick, who has weighed out. Let's weigh out 2 more. Back on stage to Carlton Wing.
All right, it is my pleasure to introduce not only the namesake for this tournament, but the namesake for the tour we fish. He is FLW, Forrest L. Wood, ladies and gentlemen.
Forrest, this is a very exciting tournament here. Again, your tournament namesake, the Forrest Wood Open. But I also know while you're up here, I saw you out at Mooney Bay Marina this morning. Did you get on the water?
I did, and caught a few fish, Charlie. I understand why these people make the sacrifices they do to get to fish tournaments. What a thrill it is to be here at this event and to think how far we've come and how long we've been working so hard and the progress that's been made recently. And I was thinking about the co-angler yesterday afternoon and how excited he was to have an opportunity to do what many of us, Guido Hibden and myself, have been wanting for many, many years. And we have arrived, I guess you'd say. And it's certainly a thrill to me, Charlie, to still be able to be a part of it.
We're so proud to wear FLW as our logo. That means integrity as good as it can get.
Ladies and gentlemen, Forrest L. Wood.
Thank all of you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get back to the weigh-in. Randy Blockett is our leader, 27 pounds, 15 ounces. Our next challenger is our BF Goodrich Pro, Scott Martin. He's weighed in 2 fish so far, needs to bring up 6 pounds and 9 ounces to be able to retake the lead.
Evinrude Pro, Scott Martin, 6'9", will put him back into the lead.
I want to say happy birthday to my little boy Reed. He turns 4 today. His birthday was today, and I caught a couple fish for him today. So I want to tell him happy birthday. I think they're all at Walmart watching right now.
All right, let's weigh in one more and give him a birthday of putting you back into the lead right here. Looking for 6 pounds, 9 ounces. We have 7 pounds, 3 ounces, the new leader.
All right. Scott Martin has weighed in 4 fish now. He leads the tournament, 28 pounds, 9 ounces. Chris Baumgardner is coming up next. He has weighed in 3. He needs to bring up 6 pounds and 9 ounces to retake the lead.
Our Snickers Pro, 6'9", will put him into the lead and move him ever closer toward Birmingham, Alabama. His final 2 fish weigh in at 4 pounds, 10 ounces, not enough.
No, couldn't get the big bite today.
All right, we got you at work out there on Lake Champlain. Let's check you out, Chris, and tell us what you're doing out there today.
I'm mostly fishing spawning flats, and I kind of run out of fish where I was at. So I went looking to some areas and looked for some largemouth and try to get a big bag and get in that top 3 and make that championship.
I know you want to. You've had a great year. Chris Baumgardner, our Snickers Pro. Let's give him a good round of applause.
Okay, we're halfway through our field of finalists. 5 have weighed out, 5 still alive. Here comes Jonathan Newton, who has weighed in 3 fish so far. He needs to bring up 6 pounds even to be able to retake the lead.
Jonathan again in the Kellogg's boat, our presenting sponsor for this event. Here comes his 5th and final fish. And that should do it. 2 fish here that weigh 7 pounds, 9 ounces, the new leader.
All right. Jonathan Newton has weighed in 5 fish. He now holds the lead. We've crossed the 30-pound plateau. 30 pounds, 3 ounces. He is our leader. Aaron Martens is coming up next. He's weighed in 3. He needs to bring up 5 pounds and 14 ounces to be able to retake the lead.
Yeah, we're at 212 for that one. Now his final fish. 514 is what he's looking for. 514. These 2 fish weigh in at 5 pounds, 15 ounces. A new leader, And that eliminates Jonathan. We know this tournament was going to come down to just literally ounces. By 1 ounce, you're bumped out.
1 ounce. It's been a great week. I didn't know a whole lot about the lake. I came up at the last minute. I had a good time. I didn't know a lot. I stayed on one series of flats about a mile long, but the wind was calm this morning, and I could see pretty good, so I got that one. I didn't
get them to bite and get them hooked up. You said pretty easy. Get them in the boat sometimes not quite so easy.
They are really fighters. I really had a good time catching all these fish. I mean, it's a beautiful lake, and I'm going to come back definitely.
His first time out, did a great job. Let's give him a huge round of applause. Great job, Jonathan.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are down to our final 4 anglers. Our new leader is Aaron Martens with 30 pounds and 4 ounces. We'll see if David Walker can take the lead when we come back on FLW Outdoors. All right, our next challenger is David Walker, still alive. He's weighed in 4 fish. His 5th and final fish has got to be a doozy. We need 4 pounds and 5 ounces to be able to retake the lead.
He's fishing where big ones live. He's got a nice one, but I'm not sure it's 4 or 5. It's not. Weighs in at 3 pounds, 1 ounce. Man, you need one more big bite somewhere.
Oh, I know it. I know it. That's the story of my life, Charlie. But I can't say enough about, just the execution. I did everything right. Everything it bit, I caught it, never broke a line, never.
Let's watch you out there, not missing a strike. David Walker at work right here on the monitor. Dave, tell us quickly what you're doing.
I'm getting ready to just really start catching the heck out of them right here, Charlie. I mean, I think I caught about 25 keeper fish today in the 4 hours that I fished, and that's about 1 every 10 minutes, and it was like that right there all day long. It was just a blast. I really enjoyed fishing there, and had to do over again. I'd do it again.
David Walker did a great job here. Batted 1,000. Let's give him a great round of applause. Good job, Dave. Perfect tournament. Just not enough big ones.
We are down to our final 3 anglers, and let me tell you, just 2 pounds and 6 ounces separates first from third right now. Aaron Martens is our leader, 30 pounds, 4 ounces. Our next challenger is Randy Blockett. Randy must bring up 2 pounds, 6 ounces to be able to take the lead with his final fish.
2-6, he takes the lead and eliminates Aaron. Less than that, he's eliminated, and I think he is. 1 fish here that weighs 1 pound, 8 ounces, 1-8. Randy, you did a great job, though.
Yeah, that was the smallest one I had all week. The conditions really deteriorated for what I was doing, Charlie. I was fishing a jerkbait, really relying on the wind, and I didn't have a fish for like 2.5 hours this morning, and it slicked off, and I went to the bank, and I could see him bedding, and I caught a limit. As soon as I got my 5th fish, the wind came up, and went out there and never had any fish hit the bait. Right at the end of the day, I had a 4-pounder about 1 inch away from the back hook on it, and I just couldn't quite trick her into biting. But it was a great week. I had a good clean week, and just happy to be here.
Great job for Team Fuji. Randy Blockett, let's give him a good round of applause.
I'd like to say one thing. Say hi to my Fujifilm family in the audience there. They're the greatest. And my wife Suzanne, she's visiting family in Wichita. She was trying to get to a Walmart to watch it. So love you, and I'll be home next week.
Randy Blockett.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a little shootout right here. Aaron Martens is still our leader, 30 pounds, 4 ounces. 1 angler remains. His name is Scott Martin. 1 fish needs to be at least 1 pound and 12 ounces. That's what separates our champion. We'll crown a winner when we come back on FLW Outdoors.
We've got a jam-packed tent here in Plattsburgh, New York, but I guarantee you the happiest guy in the tent is BF Goodrich pro Chad Grigsby, because it looks like Chris Bumgardner will not finish in the top 3 in this event, and that means you go to the championship. You've got to be thrilled.
Well, it makes me pretty happy. I don't like to wish bad on anybody, but I just wished really well on my teammates. I got 3 teammates up there, Danny and Scott and David, and I was cheering them on pretty hard to beat Chris.
Well, it's not official yet, but unofficially, congratulations.
Thank
now,
you.
2 guys left, Aaron Martens or Scott Martin. Who's going to win this?
I think Scott had a pretty big smile on his face when he came in, so I'm going to, just because he's my teammate, I'm going to pick him.
Chad Grigsby, congratulations. We'll find out when we come back on FLW Outdoors.
A lot of money on the line all week long. $1.25 million is the total purse for this, the final event of the 2004 regular season. $200,000 goes to our winner, and it will be either Aaron Martens or Scott Martin. Charlie Evans is with our leader right now. Charlie?
Aaron Martens already won one Forest Wood Open, in the lead in the second one. As Carlton said, $200,000 at stake. Second place, though, not bad, $100,000 there. So one way or the other, you're going to walk away with a lot of money.
Yeah, me and my wife talked about this like last year at Wheeler, and then second place is almost as good as first. It's a lot more money, but still $100,000 is a huge chunk of money.
You fished great all week long, brought in those huge smallmouth all week. Let's watch you at work out there on Lake Champlain. Tell us what you're doing, Aaron.
I think there's like about 90% of the fish in this lake are on beds right now. That's why a lot of guys are saying they went back to the same spots and they couldn't catch them. They're just gone. There's just a lot of them are picked off. I saw a lot of them in practice that didn't have fish on today, but they're almost everywhere in the lake right now. They're on beds.
I noticed the wide brim cap there. It's so important to block out the sun.
What you want to do is you want to shade the glasses. You don't want any sun on your glasses anywhere. You want all shade, and that's what that hat does.
Key to him catching bedding fish. He's in the lead right now, just barely. 1 pound, 12 ounces ahead. And here is Carlton Wing with our challenger.
All right, this is the last angler remaining who can take the title here at the Forest Wood Open. This is BF Goodrich Pro, Scott Martin. Scott, you've weighed in 4 fish. You trail by 1 pound, 12 ounces. You fished very well here at Lake Champlain. The last time you were here, you took 4th place. And the last time there was a major bass tournament on this waterway, your father won it.
That's right. The very first bass tournament they had here back, it was 96 or 97, my father won the event. He was fishing over in Missisquoi Bay, catching largemouth. But I've been blessed this week. The Lord has just really taken care of me, and I've just been really focused this whole week and trying to concentrate on smallmouth. It's hard to win this tournament with only smallmouth, but there's so many 3 to 3.5 to 4 pound smallmouth out there that you can have a consistent bag every day. And a lot of times the largemouth can peter out on you a little bit, kind of like what happened to some of these guys.
Talk a little bit about your technique. Obviously, you know how to catch fish here on this waterway.
Well, pretty much I was sight fishing a lot the first 2 days, and then also throwing a jerk bait as well. Really just trying to concentrate on spawning areas and trying to concentrate on areas that were really had a lot more wind blowing on them during practice than the calmer spots, because that's where everybody's really like to look. So I really spent a lot of time GPSing things in places that people wouldn't look because it was too windy or too rough, and that was the key for me doing well in the tournament.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're ready to find out who the winner is of the Forest Wood Open. All right, let's set the stage right now. Aaron Martens is our leader. He has weighed in all 5 of his fish. Scott Martin is the challenger. He has weighed in 4 fish. With his 5th and final fish, it must be at least 1 pound, 12 ounces to claim the championship of the Forest Wood Open. Scott, what's in your live well?
Whoa. I think slightly larger than 112.
I told Reed that I was going to catch him a birthday fish today, and this is it.
A $200,000 birthday fish. This fish weighs in at 3 pounds, 15 ounces. We have a champion.
BF Goodrich Pro Scott Martin is your winner of the 2004 Forest Wood Open. Come around to the front of the stage here. Scott, this has got to be a thrill. $200,000 and the title as the prestigious Forest Wood Open holder.
I'm in another place right now. I don't even have any idea what you just said, to be honest with you. Boy, I tell you, I just want to thank all my sponsors. I want to thank my wife for praying. Oh, man.
They're listening right now in Walmart.
My buddy Randy that travels with me, he's a big part of my success the last couple of years, and I know a lot of guys on the tour know him, and he keeps me focused out there. And that's what it's about, this tournament. I stayed focused the entire tournament and practiced real hard every day, put in my time, and it paid off.
I tell you what, it's going to pay off handsomely for you right now. Here is your check. Here's Krista Schweitzer from Kellogg's. We've got Mr. Forest Wood as well, the namesake of this tournament.
On behalf of Kellogg's, I'm very pleased to present you with this check for $200,000. Congratulations.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, $1.25 million on the line in this Forest Wood Open. What a thrilling tournament it was, and our winner, Scott Martin, taking home a check for $200,000. As we look at our final leaderboard, Aaron Martens in second place, $100,000, followed by Jonathan Newton, Randy Blockett, David Walker. In sixth place, Rob Kilby, followed by Chris Baumgardner, Dan Moorhead, Charlie Hartley, and Jason Kilpatrick. Thanks for watching this week, everybody, on FLW Outdoors. Be sure to tune in next week when Larry Nixon joins us to help recap this amazing Forest Wood Open. He'll talk to our champion, Scott Martin, and 2 other finalists. Thanks for watching this week. We'll see you next week on FLW Outdoors.
Imagine the best day of fishing you ever had. Now multiply that by 10. That's an FLW Tour final round on awesome Lake Champlain. Larry Nixon tells you how they did it. Next from Plattsburgh, New York on FLW Outdoors.
Yes, sir, that's what we're looking for, my friend. Ball game, baby. Yeah.
He could have one more in. He does. We have a champion.
Yeah. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Hallelujah!
Welcome to FLW Outdoors. We come to you from Plattsburgh, New York, on the shores of Lake Champlain. Taylor Carr with Larry Nixon. When you say Lake Champlain, Larry, outstanding bass fishery.
It really is, Taylor. It's one of the greatest fisheries in the world, and it's huge, you know. I mean, we can scatter out all over the place as long as the wind don't blow, and it's just full of them big brown bass. And it takes so much heat off the largemouth that you just don't know which way to go.
We've just seen an exciting shootout-style weigh-in, and Aaron Martens and Scott Martin were the final 2. Scott Martin won it. What's the key to winning on Lake Champlain?
Well, I'm not real sure. I hope to learn that from Scott myself, but I know one thing. The key is to catch big quality fish, and that's what Scott did.
We'll talk with Scott, Aaron, and David Walker. What do you want to learn from them? Is there any one fact you want to know about this lake?
Well, the big key in all of bass fishing is what's on the bottom, how deep's the water, what were you keying on, and that's what I hope to get from these guys this week, is to find out exactly what they were fishing.
You always learn something when we talk to these other pros.
Well, I learned something from them. I always learn where I messed up, of course, but, you know, I learned something because every time you come back, fishing's always different, and a lot of times it's just the guy that puts together everything, catching a few fish off the spawn and a few fish that have already spawned, and they just put the whole package together for 4 days.
All right, Larry Nixon gets the story in a few minutes. Right now, a look back at the 2004 Forest Wood Open on Lake Champlain.
Forest Wood Open. Day 1.
Launch on Lake Champlain started just minutes ago, and the weather is picture perfect. Clear and very little wind, and that should open the door for some big stringers on day 1. Champlain is such a strong fishery that almost anything works. From Michael Black flipping a tube, to Dan Mansky Carolina rigging, to Jimmy Millsaps with a fluke. The total day 1 catch broke the Champlain record from 2 years ago, with 189 pros toting limits.
This is a fun place to fish.
I have never been any place like this, Charlie. It's unreal.
Remember Jimmy Millsaps? That fluke he was throwing helped him get 18-12 and 3rd place.
I'm working it a little different than most people. I'm working it sort of fast, then I'm sort of just killing it.
Leading the way, David Walker with just over 20 pounds, all largemouth, flipping a tube to holes in shallow grass. In the Land O'Lakes Angler of the Year race, Shinichi Fukai's lead appears secure. He stands in 17th place. His nearest challengers, Yamaha Pro Greg Hackney and Castrol Pro Mike Sermon, are tied for 71st.
Forest Wood Open. Day 2.
It's day 2 at Lake Champlain, which means for 190 of our pros, this is the final day of the 2004 regular season. However, there are 85 pros within 4 pounds of the top 10 cut. It's still anybody's ball game at the Forest Wood Open. For all of Lake Champlain's beauty and the amazing abundance of fish, wind is a common nemesis. It affects the fish, but mainly it affects the fishermen. As the afternoon advanced, so did the wind. Meanwhile, the weigh-in was a show and tell of the day's events. While many anglers were focused on winning the Forest Wood Open, others needed a strong showing here to qualify for August's FLW Championship.
I had 9.6 yesterday and 17.10 today, so I'm cutting it pretty close on the championship. I think I came back today and caught enough weight to put me in the championship.
Also on day 2, Shinichi Fukai secured 24th place and clinched the 2004 Land O'Lakes Angler of the Year, capping an amazing season. As for the Forest Wood Open, Rob Kilby continued to dominate, moving from second to first place with 16 pounds 10 ounces. David Walker is just behind Kilby after returning to his top spot 65 miles away.
I thought it was a gamble I needed to take. Went down there this morning, caught one first cast. 10 minutes later, I had maybe 12, 13 pounds of fish in a boat.
A talented field enters the final round, including 2003 Angler of the Year Dan Moorhead, last year's Forest Wood Open champ Aaron Martens, Fuji Pro Randy Blockett, and BF Goodrich Pro Scott Martin.
Day 3.
Day 3 began with less wind, which meant more time to fish for a whole lot of money. And the leader out of the qualifying round struggled in the morning, but Rob Kilby turned on to a limit of fish just after noon. However, his weight would place him in 9th place by day's end. 2 anglers had hot hands at the start of the final round. One was Fuji Pro Randy Blockett, who landed his limit early and began culling quickly. He'd bagged the best weight of the day with 16 pounds 2 ounces. The other hot hand belonged to David Walker. After a 65-mile run, Walker's largemouth gamble paid off with 16 pounds, just 2 ounces behind Blockett. And in case you didn't think it could get any closer, Dan Moorhead weighed in 16.1. 3 names headlined the list at the end of day 3: Blockett, Moorhead, and Walker. But the top 8 anglers were all within 3 pounds of the lead. Saturday's shootout was on. With so many anglers separated by so few ounces, everyone knew everyone else would be catching fish. Catching the big bites would be the key. Catching a limit was not a problem. Most of the finalists had theirs within a couple of hours of launch. Those top 3 anglers who entered the day separated by an ounce would finish the tournament 4th, 8th, and 5th, respectively. The exciting shootout-style weigh-in revealed a shakeup at the top. While everyone prepared for a typical Lake Champlain weigh-in where every ounce counts, this Forest Wood Open was won by well over 2 pounds.
I think slightly larger than 1/12.
I told Reed that I was going to catch him a birthday fish today, and this is it.
A $200,000 birthday fish. This fish weighs in at 3 pounds, 15 ounces. We have a champion.
BF Goodrich Pro Scott Martin is your winner of the 2004 Forest Wood Open. The final leaderboard showed Scott Martin way out in front with 32.5 pounds. The tight race was for second place, with Aaron Martens edging Jonathan Newton by 1 ounce for $100,000. Randy Blockett and David Walker took 4th and 5th. Rob Kilby came in 6th, followed by Chris Baumgardner, Dan Moorhead, Charlie Hartley, and Jason Kilpatrick. Rob Kilby won the Shot Back Clean Sweep Award for the best weight of the qualifying round with 35 pounds and 12 ounces. Charlie Hartley won the Energizer Keeps On Going Award, coming back from 44th place on day 1 to make the cut and eventually finish 9th. Hartley also won the Schick Close Shave Award by creeping into the top 10.
Now, you talk about long trips to find these fish. Our next guest made a real long trip, 130 miles round trip for David Walker, the BF Goodrich Pro. He's our next guest on FLW Outdoors. FLW Outdoors continues, and now's the time we find out how these anglers fish this incredible fishery. David Walker finished 5th and won $30,000. He's a BF Goodrich Pro from Sevierville, Tennessee. And Larry, he was on some great fish day 1. He had the day 1 lead.
He really was. You know, Taylor, I predicted the guy to win this tournament would be fishing south if he could make it back all 4 days. I noticed you was fishing big grass mats, and actually you were looking for what I felt like there was really 2 keys to the 2 areas that I saw you fish. And one of them had a little ditch, and the other one, the grass bed actually went from huge wide and started necking down narrow, and it's like the fish was right in the middle of that heavy mat.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I never could figure out just exactly why those fish would bunch up or stay in one little spot, because so much of it looked just the same. But like you were saying, that one area that kind of necked down, and I think that kind of created a funnel, because a lot of the bait fish and bluegills that you see in that grass probably just travel that grass. They never venture out of it, because when you got outside of the grass, there was a lot of northern pike. I'd get a lot of pike bites when I got to the outside edge. And so I think that grass was their cover, and those bass just stayed right in there with them and just ambushed them from below.
That's one thing I've always learned about fishing up north. If you find the pike, you better get the heck out of there, because there ain't going to be many bass there. And, I mean, that's just the way it is, isn't it, David?
Yeah, usually that's the case.
Especially if it's them big ones.
If it's big enough to eat the bass, you better get out of there. But I caught one little pike yesterday that there was a bass trying to get the jig away from him. So, I mean, those bass in that area were very competitive, and that's what I thought was going to let me win the tournament, because once you found them, you didn't have to talk them into biting. Yeah. They was looking for you.
Was there a certain depth of water that you really felt like was better than the rest?
Around 8 feet.
8 feet.
7 to 9 feet. Once you got past that, the grass quit topping out.
Yeah.
And when you got shallower than that, it was really matted and kind of mucky. And I still caught fish in those areas too, but not like.
Key word, topping out. That's a key word to a bass pro. Anytime cover tops out, that usually is one of the best areas to fish.
Sure, it is. I mean, when that grass is up there and late, it's grown a little bit longer than what the lake's going to let it, and it starts to lay over. That's usually the best place to catch bass, and that's the way it was down there.
Well done, David Walker. 5th place, $30,000. Congratulations.
Thanks so much.
Now let's look at some of the drama, how it happened on Lake Champlain. Details matter in fishing, and especially on Lake Champlain, where the winning margin figures to come down to mere ounces. On the morning of the final day, only 2 ounces separate the top 3. Randy Blockett at 16.2, Dan Moorhead at 16.1, and David Walker at 16 even. 5 more anglers are within 2 pounds. Aaron Martens, Jonathan Newton, Chris Baumgartner, Scott Martin, and Charlie Hartley. It's the tightest grouping of contenders ever to start an FLW final day.
I'm not even really thinking about anything but just one fish at a time. It's so close that it doesn't matter if you're in 7th or 8th place or leading the tournament. Everybody's just with ounces, so you can't get real excited about that. I mean, I'm just going to go out there and have a good time.
3 pounds back and not totally out of it, Rob Kilby. And then Jason Kilpatrick, who at least finds some focus in trailing by almost 5 pounds.
To go out today and try to catch 14 pounds of smallmouth won't catch me up in this game. So we're going to go and dedicate to largemouth again and try for a hero bag of fish today, which is kind of exciting in and of itself, because everyone here is fishing clear water and fishing for smallmouths, and we're going to go find some stained water and try to flip up a big giant stack of largemouth. It'll be exciting.
Now, finding big largemouth on Champlain, that's the tough part. Take day 1 leader, David Walker. The BF Goodrich Pro has made the 130-mile round trip to the southern end of Champlain 3 straight days, including Thursday's brutal conditions when the trip back took him 3 hours.
You couldn't have called it any better. This is exactly what we need right here, is a flat, calm day. The 700's going to run me down there at 70 plus. So I'm going to be ready to go, man. When we get there, the fishing's going to start. And it just started. I'll see you guys down there. Let's go.
But while he's making his long run south, much of the field is already fishing. And Walker was right about the flat, calm conditions. Very unusual for Lake Champlain. This is Jonathan Newton throwing a bubblegum-colored fluke and fishing only minutes away from takeoff.
I've just been throwing a Strike King Zulu around, just around 7, trying to stay in 7 to 8 feet of water. I think most of them are pre-spawn. And they're a little bit heavier than all the rest of the fish. I'd say it's 58 degrees now. It's cooled off 4 or 5 degrees since we started. There's one.
With that smallmouth, Newton moves into a virtual tie for the lead, a 2-day total of just over 16 pounds. It's the first of many catches today on Champlain. Coming up, the calm conditions make for perfect sight fishing, and that's great news for Aaron Martens. And it means Randy Blockett is getting an eyeful under the calm water of Lake Champlain. FLW Outdoors continues from Plattsburgh, New York, side of the Forest Wood Open. And Fuji Pro Randy Blockett, Larry Nixon, had a great tournament. He made the finals. Randy is a real thinker out there on the water.
Randy really is, and you know he's a great fisherman, and he had these fish figured out pretty good, and I really thought he had a chance to win the tournament.
Didn't quite win it, but let's see how he did today. Randy Blockett on the final day of the Forest Wood Open.
I don't see really any reason to change what I'm doing. I mean, if I'll just probably have to move out maybe deeper or something if the wind doesn't come up, but the conditions are real similar to the way they've been all week here. I don't see really any reason to change. I mean, I've seen enough 4-pound smallmouth to make me feel I'm in the right area. Should be hitting some top waters. Not even catching pike this morning. Man, part of me wants to go and look for beds as calm as it is. Gotta fish the conditions, and if it was like this in practice, I'd be trying to top water. So, try top water. Man, I don't know what I'm doing messing with this other stuff. I gotta stay with that jerk bait. And just trick 5 of the right ones to biting it. And I would just look for the right water for it instead of changing baits. I just need to stay focused and just not get ahead of myself. I mean, that wind ought to come up. I just can't see it staying like this all day long. And even if it does, maybe the fish will just, get more active. The thing about it, I brought 3 tubes with me if I want to go looking for beds. That's all I've got. I just got to do this for, just enough to satisfy my curiosity anyway. I hate bed fishing. I can't stand it. It's just not what I like to do. There he is. I can't believe it. My first bed fish of the entire year. Not really what I was looking for, but at least it's a start. At least you got to get one in the boat sometime. Now that fish, I just saw it cruising, and there was a little real inobvious bed, and dropped it down there and ate it. Now see that? That's a 3-pound fish. It's going to take 5 like that and a 4-pound kicker to win. Oh, lucky strike tube bait. That's the thing, man, just adapting to the conditions. This is the last thing I expected to be doing today. Man, if we just had 2 or 3 more hours with this wind calm to be able to hunt them. I can't believe I did not catch a single fish on a jerkbait today. I mean, I salvaged 5, and I'm fortunate to do that because that's all the bites I had. But I don't know, I did everything I could. If I had to do it over again, I'd have done everything the same way. And if you can end your day and say that, I think you've had a good day.
Coming up on FLW Outdoors, a pro that just loves the clear water. He's an outstanding finesse fisherman out of Castaic, California. Aaron Martens next when FLW Outdoors continues. We're back in Plattsburgh, New York. This is FLW Outdoors. We just finished the Forest Wood Open. Aaron Martens finished second. Larry, he came close. He almost won the Forest Wood Open 2 years in a row.
I'll tell you what, he does a great job up here in these Clearwater lakes, and I'm really impressed with Aaron. He's a great fisherman, and these fish were bedding in how deep of water?
The deepest one I caught, I think, in this tournament was right about 14 foot.
Holy cow. You must have awesome eyes.
Yeah, it's hard to see him. A couple of times I had to spin the boat around, make it wake and kind of flatten the water out. And you can't always see the fish. You just see kind of a swept spot. And I throw a Konami flash, like a chartreuse white, something I could see. And I just watch it sink for like 20 seconds, and all of a sudden you see this shadow coming up off the bottom. You know there's a fish there, and I'd usually get my other rig out with a little heavier line. And
Well, was you using a heavy sinker or something so you could get it to sink where you wanted it?
No, a lot of the times the fish would leave the bed if you went right over the top of them.
Yeah.
And using the light baits, if the fish wasn't on the bed, he'd be off in a distance and see it falling and come over to it. That's how I caught most of them.
Just get it in the area where the fish was, and you didn't have any problem getting it.
Yeah, they came to me.
Aaron, I was there this morning when the water got really glassy and you started being able to see those fish, and your intensity really picked up then.
I get excited when I see calm water. It's like I just start jamming. I go as fast as I can go, and I can see when it's calm like that. I can go on high 100% and see everything within 30, 40 feet right and left of me, and that's when it's really good. And that's when you can cover miles and miles of water.
This is what these pros do. They make adjustments to anything. I mean, Aaron's really a master at that.
Yeah, that sight fishing is my favorite thing to do. I just enjoy seeing the fish. It's almost like a hunt, You see a fish and you see him swim off, or you see a bed and you flip your bait out there and see him come up on it. There's nothing more exciting than that. I can't. I mean, it's the best. It's the best.
All right, Aaron Martens, second place, $100,000. Congratulations. Aaron Martens, everybody. Now, more of the drama from Lake Champlain. It's still early on the clear, calm, the Big Money Forest Wood Open, and the anglers are catching fish. Aaron Martens has boated 2 nice smallmouth to take the lead with close to 19 pounds. Dan Moorhead's fishing still water too, and he's drop shotting with a 4-inch worm.
This is beautiful. Oop. First cast, boys, and that's a big one.
The smallmouth goes 3 pounds and puts Moorhead only ounces behind Martens. Scott Martin is sight fishing, and the visibility is incredible as he targets smallmouth among scattered boulders. Martin has his eye on a bedding fish, and he wants to be sure he's ready when his white tube bait disappears. The depth is 4 feet, and the water temperature is 59 degrees. It's a 2-pound smallmouth, and it bumps the BF Goodrich Pro up to 4th place. Meanwhile, David Walker is just arriving at his spot 65 miles south of Plattsburgh, where Lake Champlain has an entirely different look.
Well, what we're fishing is fishing milfoil. And it's a grass that only grows maybe out to about 9 foot depth. Doesn't grow much deeper than that.
Walker's found a large area where the milfoil has topped out. Even better for the big largemouth he's targeting.
And you just fish along through it, and you'll find your little group of fish. And once you find them, they'll sure bite. That's what makes it worth driving an hour to get here.
Walker's gamble and his long ride appears to pay off. Within 45 minutes, he has a limit, and he jumps to 2nd place. On the leaderboard, it's Martens, Walker, Martin, and Newton. Everybody's catching fish except Day 3 leader Randy Blockett. His area is dead calm too, and he's in the midst of an internal debate about whether to change tactics.
Man, part of me wants to go and look for beds as calm as it is. Yeah, it's just a lot easier. The water's so dang clear that they're extremely easy to see. And up here, they're really aggressive once you find them. I don't sight fish. I mean, I don't like to do it. I don't really agree with the concept, but on a day like today, you got to do what you got to do. Yeah, there's one on the bed there. There he is. Can't believe it was my first bed fish of the entire year.
Sight fishing pays off for Blockett. Within 40 minutes, he has a limit and takes over 2nd place. Coming up from Lake Champlain, the tournament goes down to the wire. Coming up on FLW Outdoors, we have a little fun. Carlton Wing goes striper fishing with Fujifilm Pro Wesley Strader. It's next when FLW Outdoors continues. FLW Outdoors continues from Plattsburgh, New York. Taylor Carr with Larry Nixon. Now, Larry, when we talk about striper fishing, it drives most of you bass anglers crazy because the stripers get in the way a lot of times when you're trying to catch a big largemouth.
That's one of them things I have to fight forever just to get my lure back. They're mean.
But they're fun to catch once in a while.
Oh, they're fun to catch. But I don't like to catch them when I'm in a tournament or practicing because they want to steal my lure, and I don't want them to get it.
All right, Wesley Strader was trying to catch him. Here we go. Advanced angling with Wesley Strader, striper fishing with the Fujifilm Pro.
You see them gulls up there diving down? Them stripers are breaking like crazy. Look at them gulls. They're going crazy.
Welcome back to FLW Outdoors, everybody. As you can see, the conditions outside may be a little bit less than favorable upside of the water, but underside of the water, we're trying to catch some fish, and we're going to try to alter our tactics. We've caught a few bass, we've had some fun, but Wesley, a good angler, is able to see the conditions around him, and you notice something right down here at the end of this dam. The gulls are moving.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we all like to bass fish, and I want to say I just bass fish and that's it. But when you see them gulls doing that up there, and you know them striper biting, you got to do it. It's just fun. I mean, we're just out here having a good time, and maybe we can catch some.
It's too much fun to pass up. So we're going to show you a little bit of a tip. If the bass fishing maybe slows down a little bit, or if you just want to try something new, Wesley's got a trick here that can help you catch some stripers, which is always fun to catch. First, we had to catch our bait. Wesley rigged some small white flies on spinning reels, enabling us to catch more than one at a time. We were fishing for 4 to 5 inch shad, and in a matter of moments, we had a live well full of bait. Striped bass enjoy strong current more than black bass, so the base of the dam is a great place to be, and getting there is the fun part. Wesley motored us toward the dam's base while I rode up front to help balance the boat. I was a hood ornament with a fishing pole.
What we're doing is these skipjack come in here in the fall of the year, and these stripers run in here after them. I mean, if the current wasn't so hard, the bass would run in here too. The bait on the upstream side of the dam, it gets washed through those turbines, and it chops them up. It's like this. It's just like chumming. Yeah. That's a natural chum machine right there.
Okay.
So you can tell by all the bird activity, they're just gorging themselves. Let's make us another run. There you go. He ain't big, but they fight pretty good. Double, baby, yeah! How's that for some Tennessee striper action?
And that was fun.
That ain't a bass, but it sure is fun, ain't it?
Woo, boy.
Thank you, boys. He got off.
So there you have it. Watch the area around you as you fish. Mother Nature can tell you how to have a great day on the water, even if it's not the way you planned it.
Yeah, this is the best part on FLW Outdoors. We just finished the Forest Wood Open. Our winner, Scott Martin. Larry, he took home a check for $200,000. Super tournament, Scott.
It's just unbelievable. I tell you, it's the Lord has really blessed me this week, and I had a lot on the line. I had the FLW Championship that I needed to make, and of course I wanted to win the tournament more than anything, and that's all I really thought about the whole entire week was just winning the tournament.
And I want to know how you caught your fish. You know, I got something to learn here. I want to know how deep you fished, and I want to know why you caught them in certain areas and nobody else did.
I tell you, the big key, there's two things. First was my electronics. I had Garmin GPS on the front of my boat as well as Garmin GPS on the back of my boat. So as I went around and practiced all week, I GPSed everything that was important. And when I GPS something on the front of my boat, I know that it's deadly accurate. So when I can pull up there in the tournament, I know for a fact that I'm on the spot. But also the key thing was practicing in places that people weren't practicing. And what I mean by that is that the wind blew quite a bit this week. So I was doing a lot of sight fishing and stuff like that. So I picked areas of the lake that were wind blown, that you could not see very well in, and picked windows of opportunity to go over there and look in places that this wind really beat up a lot. So as the tournament started, nobody knew that the fish were there because there was 2-foot waves rolling in half the time during practice. These smallmouth, they don't make a bed that's real obvious a lot of times. They spawn kind of real discreetly, and more than that is that they're like a chameleon. They blend in with that bottom. You can be right over top of a fish and not see him, and you almost have to make them move before you can really detect that he's there. So good polarized glasses were real important. I used solar back glasses, and they were a big key. Without them, I definitely wouldn't be able to catch any of my fish today. but a jerkbait. I fished with a Matsuo jerkbait all week as well, and that produced a big 4-pounder for me today, a 3.5-pounder yesterday. And so those were some post-spawn fish that I'd found that I was really hoping to catch, and that's kind of really what sealed the deal for me.
Larry, this is a win for his generation because you grew up, you came along fishing against Scott's dad, Roland Martin, and now Scott, his second win on the FLW Tour.
That's right. Me and Roland was always banging each other's heads, you know, when I was getting older, you know, back in 10, 12, 15 years ago. And I asked him one time, I said, Scott, what are you going to do? You going to fish for a living? No, I don't think I can do that. He said, I think I'm going to go to school. And this was a true story at Okeechobee. Do you remember that? He was only about 17.
Oh, yeah.
And now here he is up here winning a great event.
Well, I tell you, I appreciate you. You're really looking after me, and we've been good friends on the tour, and to stand here on stage with you really means a lot. For you to congratulate me in this tournament means more, and I tell you, it's an honor, and you're the best fisherman in the world behind my dad, of course.
He should maybe stick with his fishing thing, I think, Larry.
Oh, I think he definitely should stick with it. You know, look at him. He's about as handsome as you can get, and he knows how to talk, and he's just a great guy, and he wins.
I catch a fish every once in a while, too, I guess.
And today he won $200,000. Your champion, the Forrest Wood Open, Scott Martin. Now, more on how Scott did it. Back to the drama from Lake Champlain. The phenomenal fishing on Champlain continues into the final hour of the Forrest Wood Open. The seesaw battle has Aaron Martens back in the lead with 30 pounds, just ahead of Scott Martin, then Randy Blockett, and David Walker. But Blockett has depleted his supply of sight fish, and Walker's already started his long run back to Plattsburgh. Martens needs more weight to feel comfortable, and right now he's concentrating on what looks like a nice smallmouth on a bed. Maybe it's the 4-pounder he's been looking for.
Nope. Had to see, though. I couldn't see him in the water.
Martens doesn't know it, but that's his last keeper fish. Over to Scott Martin, about a pound off the lead and carefully retying his tube again. He spotted a promising bedding fish, too.
4-pounder.
That's the fish Martin needs, and he's right. It's a solid 4-pounder.
That right there is what we've been looking for all day. Ate that tube like a champ.
Knowing ounces can be golden on Champlain, Martin culls carefully. He's now at just over 30 pounds. Discarding a smaller fish, Martin gains a pound and moves into a virtual tie with Martens. He doesn't stay tied long. Martin has saved his best bedding fish for last, and his patience is paying off.
Oh, yes, baby. Woo! Yeah. I've been saving these. Unbelievable. Good fish right there. Hook perfect. That tube fluttered down on that bed. Typically, they'll hit it when the tube's on the bottom. This fish was so protective that as that tube glided down, and I just kind of twitched it in the midair like a little jerkbait. She ate it.
Martin adds one more pound to his live well for 32.5 over 2 days. Enough to know he'll be hard to beat.
Man, I'm excited about today. I want to win real bad, and so I'm going to be disappointed if I don't, but I tried. I mean, I gave it 110%. I had my confidence up all day.
And for good reason. His final fish gives him a 2-pound win over runner-up Aaron Martens, and it gives him the biggest payday of his young career. Scott, you take home a check for $200,000, your second win on tour. Congratulations.
Oh, I tell you, it's a blessing, and I thank you so much, and it's an honor to win the Forrest Wood Open, I tell you.
How old are you?
28.
28 years old, Larry.
28 years old.
I've got a long time.
Your Forrest Wood Open winner, Scott Martin.
Thank you.
Coming up on FLW Outdoors, Todd Airy and fishing a suspending jerkbait. And we're back on FLW Outdoors. We've just completed the exciting weigh-in here at the Forrest Wood Open. Scott Martin was our winner. We're rejoined by Carlton Wing. Martin won by 2 pounds 4 ounces, and that was really a lot.
That was a lot, especially historically. You expect tight races here at Lake Champlain because everybody catches fish. But if you go to second place and third place, Aaron Martens finished in second, 1 ounce more than third place finisher Jonathan Newton. That translates to a difference of $50,000 in prize money as well. 1 ounce makes a lot of difference.
1 ounce is huge. You know, that just means one fish that just looks a little bit bigger.
All right, well, let's go now to this week's Ask a Pro question. And in this week's question, Brant Barnes of Rogers, Arkansas asks, when do you fish a suspending jerkbait? Well, Brent, your answer comes from Tyson Pro Todd Airy.
Great question, Brent. I primarily throw a suspended jerkbait in the pre-spawn time of the year, anytime the water's less than about 58 degrees. The appeal of this bait to a bass that time of year is the fact that it'll sit there in his face for as long as you want to let it sit there. Usually the minute you start to retrieve again, that's when he'll slam it.
All season long, we have a chance to get some behind-the-scene photos in our Fuji Fine Pick segment. And this week on Lake Champlain, we feature some of the touching moments of the final event of the regular season and the rough waters of Lake Champlain. Shinichi Fukai clinched the Angler of the Year at Lake Champlain, and here are some of the spoils of victory. It's called onigiri, which is a ball of rice wrapped in seaweed. It's a common Japanese lunch-on-the-go food. All eyes and cameras were on the Osaka, Japan native. A strong contingent of Japanese media was on hand to cover the international event. And I made sure I got a shot with Shin for my scrapbook as well. Co-angler Pam Wood's pro partner ran out of gas on day one, negating a great day on the water. Pam reluctantly released about 15 pounds of fish, which never saw the weigh-in scale. It was high drama after the day two weigh-in for Tyson Pro Todd Airy, a Birmingham native who desperately wanted to qualify for the FLW Championship in Birmingham. And after intense study of the standings, he and his wife Misty learned Todd made the championship as the number 47 angler. Now for the action. The rough water on day two posed one last problem for anglers returning to the weigh-in. This is Jerry Williams. He needed to ride the waves and get back on time because he had 17 pounds and he finished in 17th place. Here's NASCAR pro Sandy Melvin nearly leaving the water on his way back, but the photo showing the most air goes to Kellogg's pro Clark Wendlandt, who had the ride of his life coming back to weigh-in.
Castrol Rookie Report.
The top rookie at the Forest Wood Open was Rogersville, Alabama's Jonathan Newton, who finished third in just his third event as an FLW pro. Also in the top 20 was Michigan's Tony DiFilippo, who finished 16th. Tony also snagged a 14th place finish at the Atchafalaya Basin. At each tournament on the FLW Tour this year, we give you, the viewer, an opportunity to vote for the Eagle Claw hook set of the Tournament Award, and here's the winner from Kentucky Lake. Thanks for logging on to FLWOutdoors.com to select the Eagle Claw Hook Set Award. Your winner from Kentucky Lake is Greg Hackney. With the dexterity of a dancer, the Hackman pounced on his prey on the deck of his Ranger right at the foot of our cameraman. For his effort, Eagle Claw will present Greg Hackney with a $1,000 Walmart gift card. Congratulations to Yamaha pro Greg Hackney. Now here's your chance to vote for the winner from Lake Champlain. You can take part in the Eagle Claw Hook Set of the Day Award. Log on to FLWOutdoors.com between now and this Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Vote for the angler you think had the best hook set. The pro with the most votes wins a $1,000 Walmart shopping card presented by Eagle Claw.
Go back. Where are you going? You got my worm in your mouth, turkey.
Nominee number one comes from Aaron Martens, who got a little personal with this keeper.
It's a fish.
Our next nominee is David Walker, who was in the middle of an interview with our own Larry Nixon while he hooked a big one.
Yeah. There's a fish now.
Finally, we have a keeper for Scott Martin, which is really a birthday present for his son, Reed.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Happy birthday, Reed. It's your birthday. Go, Reed. It's your birthday.
Log on to FLWOutdoors.com and pick your winner. Now the FLW Tour will shift its focus to the championship in Birmingham in August. $1.5 million on the line. $500,000 goes to the winner. It's a huge event.
It really is. You know, I love that bracket format. I liked it last year, and thank goodness they brought it back again this year. And you're paired against one guy each day and then a guy the next day, and then all of a sudden you've only got 12 to beat. So that's a total of 14 to win $500,000.
A lot of pros like it. It's bracket-style format, and here's a look at how it works.
The most exciting event in professional fishing is back and better than ever. The $1.5 million 2004 FLW Tour Championship will feature the best anglers of the year angling for the payday of a lifetime, $500,000. It's a life-changing event in a thrilling head-to-head format that's a first in this sport. It's angler against angler for the best prize in the sport. The top seed will face the 48th seed in the first round, and the second seed will meet number 47, and so on through the bracket. Winners in the first round will advance to the semifinals for more head-to-head action. Then on the final day, the final 12 anglers will all fish for the big money, $500,000. Here's a look at some of the fun matchups. How about Greg Hackney, who is having the season of a lifetime, against Todd Airy, the local angler with the opportunity of a lifetime. Other fun matchups include 2 Tennessee anglers, BF Goodrich pro David Walker against Fuji pro Wesley Strader, and 2 Florida pros. There's hotshot rookie Glenn Brown against Okeechobee's Kobe Krieger. As you can tell, it's a big event for the anglers and also a big event for the fans. Mark the dates on your calendar. The FLW Tour Championship, August 11th through the 14th in Birmingham, Alabama. You'll see history when one angler walks away with the title and a $500,000 payday.
Well, the FLW Championship is going to be a giant show. The total purse, $1.5 million, and the winner takes home $500,000. It's going to be unbelievable. Kids will enjoy this as well. More than $100,000 in free giveaways with an interactive fun zone for kids, capped off with a drawing after the final weigh-in where one fan wins a NASCAR Limited Series Ranger 521 VX Bass boat powered by Evan Root. Free admission. It's all in Birmingham at the Birmingham Jefferson Convention Center, Birmingham, Alabama, August 11th through 14th. For more information, go to FLWOutdoors.com.
All right, when we join you next week on FLW Outdoors, we'll be in Birmingham to help preview that event. Hank Parker will join us. He'll fish with 3 of our contenders, and we'll take a look at that exciting FLW Tour Championship. It's next week on FLW Outdoors.